Today is April 3rd. Welcome once again to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. And no, you're not going crazy hearing me again. This is no April Fool's joke. That was a couple days ago. But we have a listener email by a dear friend named Chad F. And he shares his experience, strength, and hope. And it's a powerful email that I cannot wait to share here in just a minute. But also, I did receive some really sad news that a dear friend of mine in the program just passed away this past Wednesday. It's Friday early afternoon as I'm recording this, and I don't know what happened. But he was a dear friend. He always used to say, "Today's a great day to have a great day." And I guess I can say his first name. His name is Dale. I remember chairing the first meeting that he came in, and I remember how desperate he seemed. And he lived in his truck for a long time, and he's trying to get sober. And he had his 2 dogs with him. I remember he would just keep coming back to the meetings, and you could see the lights come back on. And eventually he would start chairing meetings, and eventually he would start working with others. And he was just such a funny guy. I'm really going to miss him. Dale, I love you, man. Thank you for the legacy you left behind. I know Dale had some health issues, and maybe that played a part in what happened, but I'm just really going to miss him. But he was a great example of what sobriety can do. And he'd be the first to admit he wasn't perfect, but he was perfectly human, and I'm going to miss him. Love you, Dale. But with that, guys, so we have a new story today, and again, it's from a friend named Chad F. So I will go ahead and read his email on the podcast, and then we'll talk about it real quick. Thank you so much, Chad, for reaching out. I'm really excited to pass this on. Rob, good morning from Maine. I started listening to your podcast about 3 weeks ago, and it quickly became part of my morning routine. I got sober 6 years ago on January 2nd, 2020, but I'm as stubborn as a mule and thought that I could do it by myself. I went to one AA meeting on January 4th, 2020 and decided it wasn't for me. From there, I didn't go to another meeting until last fall. See, I'm a scientist by training and occupation, so I focus on facts and data. I hated going to church growing up. I had no choice in the matter and was required to attend Sunday school and serve as an acolyte whether I wanted to or not. I can't tell you how much I hated that. I rebelled and refused to listen to any of the teachings that they were offering. My parents literally had to pull me out of bed every Sunday morning. It was a struggle for all of us. I started drinking at age 17. I was a shy, quiet kid growing up, often feeling overshadowed by my 5 older siblings and 2 younger. I usually tried to fade into the background. Don't get me wrong, I had an amazing childhood and I love my family. My parents worked so hard to keep a roof over our heads and food on the table, but I feel like I hardly saw them. Alcohol felt like magic to me as a teen. I surrounded myself with peers who liked to experiment with substances, and it made me feel seen, wanted, and liked. I used to steal alcohol from my place of work so that my friends and I could get drunk together around a fire, usually in my parents' backyard. I also got into smoking marijuana and experimenting with other things. I feel like my parents knew, but just didn't have the time or energy to deal with me. It was a cry for attention, and it didn't work. It only escalated in college as I became more addicted and dependent on alcohol. The chains broke loose. I struggled with depression and anxiety in a new place with so many new experiences. I used alcohol to self-medicate and ease awkward social interactions. I joined a fraternity my 2nd year, and that's when things really took off. Drinking 5 to 6 days a week was normal. We bonded over it. It wasn't just accepted, it was encouraged. Dangerous behavior became the norm, and I thank God that nobody died. Some guys got into fights and suffered serious injuries like broken jaws. I would routinely black out, waking up not knowing what happened. Soaked bed, bloodied hands and knees, sore back. I know I fell down the basement stairs more than once. This continued until I got married in June 2019. My wife, who I met in college, has stayed with me through all of it. She's seen the worst of me. I've treated her with disrespect, been mean, angry, lashed out, and I've been a lousy partner. She's worried about me so much, and I feel awful for putting her through my addiction. I thought about ending my life more than once. I fell deep into a depression and felt like that I would never climb out, stuck in a dark valley with no way out. Shortly after we got married, things nearly fell apart. In December 2019, I was drinking more than ever, hiding alcohol around the house and in the shed. One night she caught me going out to the shed multiple times, taking pulls from a wine bottle that I had bought for both of us. We had a huge fight. I broke down, and for the first time, I knew I needed help. But I still wasn't ready to fully commit to AA. I went to one meeting. People were so nice, but I was scared and emotionally raw. Then COVID hit a couple months later. I took it as a blessing in disguise. I wasn't going out to drink. I isolated, buckled down, and got sober without any real community. Just me and my wife. That was a mistake. I thank God that a friend reached out last fall to talk about sobriety. He was in my fraternity and struggled with alcoholism just like me. He hit bottom after a car crash and now has a pending DUI. I told him that I'd go to a meeting with him to support him. But what I didn't realize was that God was leading me back into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. In the last few weeks, I've been attending meetings regularly. I've been reading the big book and plan to finish it soon. I just started How It Works. I'm planning to find a sponsor and begin working the steps. I feel a spiritual awakening coming, and I am open to it. I'm sick and tired of trying to do everything on my own. Rugged individualism doesn't work with King Alcohol. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for waking up early every day and making an honest, consistent effort to reach other alcoholics and be of service. I'm starting to see so much more beauty and hope in life. I have a 4-year-old daughter and another on the way, and I want to be the best father I can be. I want to be a great husband, brother, and son. I want to grow closer to my higher power and build a real relationship there. With love and gratitude, Chad. All right, Chad. Wow, thank you so much for your email. There's so many really interesting things you pointed out in your story, man. It's a miracle. First of all, congratulations on 6 years of sobriety so far? That's amazing. And it sounds like you started getting sober close to the same time I did. I remember working through the steps with my sponsor right as the church doors were closing, and a lot of churches and the meetings were shut down during COVID. So here my sponsor and I were in the church parking lot working the steps together. It was amazing. But you said something that really stood out to me, talking about hating going to church as a kid. Man, I was right there with you. I remember as a kid going to a couple Catholic services, and I remember specifically they were speaking Latin, and I'm a kid. I have no idea what they're talking about. And it felt like, again, in my child's mind, it felt like it was hours that we would stay there. And I just dreaded going, right? And then you were talking about drinking at age 17, that you were shy and quiet and often felt overshadowed by your siblings. I started drinking it probably around the same time. It was either 16 or 17. And I felt shy and quiet and everything. And alcohol, like you said, man, it felt like magic to me too. I know exactly what you're talking about. It was crazy. And then eventually, just like your story of alcohol and addiction turning on you, it certainly turned on me. And dude, it sounds like to me you love your family very much. And I can relate to that so much, brother. I really can. When you were talking about your wife and her catching you sneaking in the alcohol, dude, I've been there. I know the shame you probably felt there, and I have felt that shame. Knowing the damage that our addiction's doing to our family members, man, that sucks. That really does suck. And you said, she's worried about me so much and I feel awful for putting her through my addiction. I can relate to that. And I'm so sorry it got to the point where you even thought about taking your own life. But that's where our addiction can take us sometimes, man. It's so tough. You were talking about having that huge fight with your wife and breaking down and for the first time admitting you needed help. Sounds like right there you began to take step one. It sounds like willpower and self-knowledge wasn't enough. But still, something was holding you back from AA. I get it. Sometimes we have our preconceived notions of what AA is going to be like, that it's a cult and these people are weird. And in my mind's eye, I kept thinking that AA was just this group of people that just chose not to drink, but they were kind of miserable. And I don't know. The only thing they had in common was they didn't want to drink. I had no idea there was so much joy and freedom in the program and the fellowship. But yeah, what a God story right here. I thank God that a friend reached out last fall to talk about sobriety. He was in my fraternity and struggled with alcohol just like me. He hit bottom after a car crash and now has a pending DUI. I told him that I'd go to a meeting with him to support him, but what I didn't realize was that God was leading me back into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. So it sounds like your friend came in at like the perfect time to help you out. And that instantly reminds me of Ebby Thatcher and Bill W. a little bit. It's a crazy how sometimes that chance meeting wasn't so much about chance after all. And good for you, man. It sounds like you're starting to go to meetings regularly, that you've been reading the big book and you're looking for a sponsor. That's awesome. Don't make the mistake that I did, my friend, where I started going to the meetings and I didn't really get plugged in. What I should have done early on is do service work right off the bat, help make the coffee, do some kind of obligation to where it almost forces me to be there, even for those moments in the evening where I don't feel like going. And then also, I waited too long to get a sponsor because I found out when I first got sober that, yeah, I rode the pink cloud for a little while. I loved the fellowship when I first came. But eventually, all that self-hatred started to come pouring back. And this time, you're talking about your wife. Oh, when I hurt my wife and my addiction, the selfish decisions I made while drinking and how that affected our marriage, and my daughter was just born. Oh, I started replaying all that in sobriety, right? Only this time, I have nothing I can do to numb the pain of hurting the ones I love the most, right? I'm feeling every bit of it now. So I waited, for me at least, I waited too long to get a sponsor. I waited about a year before I got a sponsor. But when I finally did work with somebody, and it was somebody that I felt comfortable around, somebody I had some things in common with, and somebody I knew I could be honest with, that had my best interests in mind. And then eventually, he and I would meet at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and we would work through the big book, page by page, starting with the very first foreword all the way to page 164. And we did all the steps together. He asked me, he said, Rob, what are you willing to do to stay sober? And he had me over a barrel because I said anything, right? He's like, okay, I want you to do 5 things for me. I want you to pray. I want you to call your sponsor. I want you to go to a meeting. I want you to read the big book. And I want you to help another drunk. And I want you to do that every day. And me, I was desperate enough to go, okay. Now, if he had added a 6th one, I want you to cut my grass, I probably would have done that too. Or anything else. Wash his car, Miyagi style or anything like that. So, man, if I could give you just some quick suggestions, like my friend Mitch right now, he's doing the 90 and 90. And that seems like a lot. And of course, a lot of it depends on the area in which you live. But if you live in more of a city, maybe you can find some meetings that you can go to throughout the week. That 90-90, what it does is it's building a routine that is, by the end of that 90 days, that's really familiar. And you're going to hear a lot of wisdom, and you're going to meet people and get a network of people that can help you through this. Another thing I would recommend is just focusing on the 24 hours ahead. Just don't drink today. Take a few minutes to pray, or get quiet, even if it feels awkward at first. Maybe get some phone numbers right off the bat. So anytime you're tempted to drink, which it's going to happen, man. Most likely it's going to happen. At least it did for me. Call before you take that drink. I know folks that go to multiple meetings. Oh, the Everything AA app. Say if you don't have a lot of in-person meetings in your area, hop on a Zoom call. There's a bunch on the Everything AA app. Zoom meetings all around the world, 24 hours a day. It's got the big book on there. It's got all the resources that I wish I knew about when I first got sober. Another thing I'd say is listen for the similarities, not the differences. If you listen for the similarities in every meeting that you go to, you'll get a lot more out of the meeting, and then eventually you can contribute to the meeting. And like I said, build relationships with some guys that you feel comfortable around, that have something that you want. One thing for me, and I don't want to preach to you or anything like that, but I think what's crucial for me was the sponsor. Somebody far wiser than me, that knows what they're talking about, that knows the program well, that can take you through the big book, take you through the steps, and explain them in a way that, even a caveman like me can understand. I'm glad that you're doing the reading of the big book. I did it solo at first. During that full first year, I didn't have a sponsor. And I understood part of it. I read the steps, but I didn't realize that reading the steps is not doing the steps. That's where my sponsor really helped me. Another thing, don't overthink step 2. Just stay open-minded. And one thing I definitely stress to you, focus on progress, not perfection. Some of the stuff will come easy to you. Some of the stuff is going to take a little bit more time. But one thing I do not recommend is isolating. Or settling, going, I don't think I need to go to a meeting tonight. I'll be fine. That can be dangerous ground, especially early on. But yeah, hey, congratulations on you've got a little girl on the way, and you want to be a good father, good husband, brother, and son. Man, I can relate to all of those things. Somebody once told me, hey, you want to be a good dad? You want to be a good father, good son, good husband? Work on your sobriety. And what I mean by that, it's not just about the drinking. It's about your own character, your own spiritual growth. And in doing that, you're giving a great gift to everybody around you. But if you don't do that, if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, eventually our alcoholism and our addictions, our selfishness and self-centeredness, it's going to manifest itself again. And we're going to hurt the people that love us the most. The people that we love the most. And the last thing I'll say is, man, you figure it out as you go. But just keep going. Don't let up, man. Keep going. Find that sponsor. Eventually do those 5 things. And I promise you'll see some progress in your life. But thank you so much, Chad, for reaching out. There were so many things that you mentioned there that I could be like, I was nodding my head as I was reading. I'm like, yep, that was me. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've been where you're at, and we're here for you, man. And if anyone else has any wisdom they'd like to pass on, please reach out to bigbookdaily@gmail.com. I'd love to send that on to Chad or anybody else, because I guarantee there's probably somebody else listening that can relate to exactly what Chad just shared. This can help many people. So thank you again for reaching out, Chad. I'm so proud of you, man. Congratulations on 6 years sober, and I hope you find a sponsor very soon, somebody that can help you out. And I'm just wishing you the absolute best. You've made my day, my friend. And if you're listening, you're not sober, I want you to know that you are a miracle, that your life has worth and value, and your story's not done yet. Just like Chad's story's not done yet. I'm excited to see what happens when he works through the steps. That's the good stuff, man. So yeah, Chad, keep us posted, man. I have a feeling that some of your greatest chapters are yet to be written. And we're here for you, man. But that's all we have time for today. I hope you all have a great one, and we will talk to you again tomorrow morning. God bless. See you guys.